have a lot of candidates here today that I want to introduce, not in any particular order, but Ann Brickley. Are you here, Ann? We have Chip Beckett. I had a really fun laugh this morning, not this morning, but earlier this week with Leslie when I got an email, and it was a radio ad by none other than the Cash Shop, and I was laughing. Come on up, Jeff. Jeff, as you know, is running for treasurer. Janet's running for Congress in the 2nd. Chip's running for the to be a state rep, and Ann's running for the U.S. Congress from the 1st. So please support these candidates. We need them in office in Hartford and down in Washington. I am so glad you're here. How many of you watched the brawl at the Bushnell? Somebody is maybe a little unhinged. From the gutter. Yeah. Listen, angry Dan. We got him on the ropes. We got another brawl in New London on Wednesday night next week. We're going to keep the dialogue going, and I really hope that I will have an opportunity, which I think I will, to talk about how Dan is, frankly, not telling the truth about a lot of things, but particularly about my record. He's out with a new ad now saying that I am against certain types of health care. This is a total fabrication. I've never talked about any specific types of health care coverage. I've never mentioned any of these things. He's completely making this stuff up. Yep. Where we are in the polls, I can understand why he's trying to do this. I don't think it's going to be effective. But I'll be talking about that on Wednesday night, and I hope that the moderators have the presence and control that we can talk more about the issues that really matter to voters here in Connecticut, because there are big differences, as you know, between where I stand on the issues and where my opponent stands on the issues. So I'm looking forward to round 2, and then we have 2 additional rounds after that. So the voters will have a lot of opportunities to see and compare me and Dan Lloyd, not only on the issues, but in terms of temperament, veracity, and everything else about what's important in our next government. Let me talk a little bit about the race. We are riding such a wave here. We are sending a message to Hartford and to Washington that they want change. They don't want the same tax, borrow and spend policies that have gotten us up on the rocks here. We need new candidates, new thinking about how we're going to solve Connecticut's problems. I'm an outsider. I come with business experience. These things are all really motivating voters. We are getting a majority of the unaffiliated voters in Connecticut, which is the first time this has happened in some time. But it's telling people really what the mood of the state and the country is. I am absolutely convinced that when we get 3 weeks down the road, it's about 3 weeks and 3 days now to go. We have a little counter on our kitchen counter, so we go to the 2nd. We started at 534 days. And we're down to 23 days. So
we need Tom Foley for years, not days.
But we have had a lot of people interested in assisting in this race. We have Chris Christie coming on October 14th. We had Mitch Daniels, the governor of Indiana, in last week, and we have Bobby Jindal coming in October. What's that?
You have the first team coming in.
Absolutely. But none other than Senator Scott Brown has come here to help us today. Republican. he had an iconic race 10 months ago that was followed nationally. He came from being virtually unheard of to winning a seat that was 3 weeks before he won it. Would have thought it was people would have thought it was impossible for a Republican to win that seat. He rode the same wave we are riding, but he also was an incredibly good candidate and somebody who stayed on message, somebody who sort of encapsulated all the anger and concern that people have about where this country's going and where his state and our state are going. So I'm very pleased to have Scott Brown here helping out. And Senator Scott Brown, please come and talk to us.
It's great to be here in Glastonbury. I've actually been here quite a few times. I've done the Shamrock Duathlon many years. It's down at the Irish American Club, and it's good to be back. And I know you're just here because you don't want to do yard work. And I know you're here to help Tom and really just be part of something historic. Something's happening throughout this country. Something that started on January 19th that's continued on, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Because I'll tell you what, everywhere I go throughout the country, not only in Massachusetts, but in Connecticut, New Hampshire, which I was in New Hampshire last night, whether I'm in Washington State or California or Illinois, people are hurting, they're tired of the high taxes, the overspending, the out-of-control debt that we're incurring. Let me just give you an example. When I got there, $11.95 billion national debt, and that's 12 zeros, folks. Yeah. Now, right now, about 7 months later, it's about 13.2 trillion.
No way.
I mean, that's unbelievable. When you're looking at our kids and our grandkids, now we're looking at our great-grandkids. How are they going to repay that back? And I've been blessed. And some of the folks came in. I have a law school friend of mine that I haven't seen in many, many years here as well, so it's good to see some familiar faces. A lot of people said, I helped you with your campaign. I sent you money, and I made phone calls. I'm honored you're here. You're Scott. No. I'm honored to be here to help Tom, to help the people of Connecticut, to send a very powerful message to Hartford and to Washington that they've had enough, that you're ready to draw a line in the sand and say, all right, enough of the spending, enough of the deficit spending, enough of the taxes, enough of the government interference in our lives. Yeah. And this isn't about Republicans, folks, because if it's just about Republicans, he loses. Okay, it's about Republicans, Democrats, unaffiliated voters, people who are just, don't care about a little itty-bitty letter at the end of our names. They care about good government, fiscal responsibility, and these people that are running right here, you need to give him the foot soldiers that he can have the abilities to sustain a veto. Trust me, I know in Massachusetts what happens when you have one party that just completely dominates everything. It's a sense of entitlement, a sense of not listening to